Oi boys, welcome back to another video on the channel. First of all, apologies if my voice is a little raspier than usual. I have come down with the flu and I've been dreading making this video, not because of the flu, but because we are coming off a diabolical week of tips. 1 from 8. I don't know if you add a draw to your overall, but that is a historic low for your boy. There were so many comebacks, so many fades, some pretty entertaining rugby league, and I was hyped at the moment, but looking at my tip sheets during the matches, I was like, surely not. The first 4 matches were pretty much upsets, and the Knights, Broncos, and Raiders were all leading. Like I said, there are some generational fades this round. As for one of the few underdogs I picked, the Dragons, even they ended up losing a match they could have won with Luke Metcalf taking an early field goal. That was like their only point in the half. The Panthers took the Cowboys to a draw at home. The Storm put an absolute beating on the Tigers, just letting them know there's levels to this. And the Seagulls looked bloody terrible. Tommy Turbo was pretty much a non-factor, as it looks like he is just not 100%. Let's put this historic low behind us, lock in and make some picks for round 11. So we have the Women's State of Origin kicking off the action on Thursday nights, which means the round will start Friday, and we have the Knights taking on the Eels at McDonald Jones Stadium. So looking at the home side, they'll be without Greg Marzhew and Leo Thompson. Filling in for Greg Marzhew, they have a 20-year-old debutant in Fletcher Hunt on the sting, and Tyson Frizzell moves into the front row. Looking at Parramatta, they got a couple of new faces as well, as they welcome back Zach Lomax, who will replace injured Bailey Simonson on the wing, and Matt Dory has been named in favour of Charlie Geimer. Looking at their team stats and the head-to-head, the Knights do have the slight edge, winning 23 of the 44 played, and in their recent history they are 1-1. As for their form heading into this match, the Knights coming off a disappointing loss last week at home, and the Eels coming off back-to-back losses, with their most recent being an ultra-close one in their backyard. As far as the eye test goes, both teams have been pretty disappointing. The Knights in particular, despite being okay defensively, have been hard offensively, and for Parramatta they have slowly improved as the season's progressed, especially with the return of Mitchell Moses. He's pretty much my main factor in taking them in this match. The difference, we'll say, as I've pretty much lost all faith in Newcastle, even at home. So give me Parramatta in a grueler, and we are going to take the returning Zach Lomax to cross the white line. Friday's headliner takes us to a core stadium with the Bulldogs host the Roosters. Looking at changes for the home side, there's only one that's been made, with Jamin Salmon unavailable. So utility Harry Hayes will be starting in the back row, and it looks like they'll be debuting another youngster in Luke Smith to come off the pine. For the Roosters, coming off a bye, they have Lindsay Collins making his way back in time for Origin. He'll be coming off the pine, and that is the only change to the 17. In their previous meetings last season, they are 1-1, but more importantly, their form heading into this, both teams riding a little 2-game win streak. As for our pick in this game, I know the Roosters are the fresher team heading into this, but the Bulldogs have proven time and time again that their fitness is second to none. I'm on the Bulldogs. I do think that they've proven they can take down these bigger forward packs like they did last week, and I think the defense is what will separate the two. So we'll be on the overwhelming favourites, Canterbury Bankstown 1 to 12 points, and we'll look to Harry Hayes to bag a meat pie. And to kick off Super Saturday, the Dolphins host the Warriors at Suncorp Stadium. Looking at the ins and outs, the Dolphins have kept the same 17 that grinded out a win against Parramatta, and for the Wires, they'll be without Bunty R4 and Jackson Ford. Some good news is they get James Fisher-Harris back on deck, 2 starts in the front row, and young gun Sam Healy gets that spot on the bench. And they've also got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck named in reserve, so he could potentially make his way to that starting 13. So in their short history of playing each other, the wins are equally divided with 2 wins apiece. And looking at their form heading into this, the Warriors are on a heater, looking to pick up their 5th win in a row for the Dolphins. Like I was saying earlier, they're coming off a grueler against the Parramatta Eels. It's such an interesting game because the Warriors do sit at outright number 2, but I am liking the Dolphins' chances in this. I just think that the Dolphins do have a few more points in them. Another factor, I'm not going to lie, is the home advantage cheese. To be fair, the Warriors, though, they are looking for their 3rd win in a row on the road, which shouldn't go unnoticed, but yeah, I'm expecting a bang out between the two. I like the Finns in this matchup, giving you 1 to 12, and to bag a meat pie, we're going to go with Jack Bostock. And at the halfway point of Super Saturday, we have the Cowboys hosting the Seagulls at Country Bank Stadium. So looking at their lineup, they welcome back young gun Zach Labart to play in the centers, and Jackson Purdue's been shifted to play 5'8", Dearden moving to 7, and Jake Clifford dropping to 18th man. A bold move by Coach Toddy Payton as we take a look at the visitors here. And there's been a shift to their lineup as well, with Captain Jake Shaboyevich moving back to lock, Jazz Tavanga shifting to play hooker, with Simkin dropping to the bench, and Ethan Bullymore gets to start in the front row. So a nice little shake-up for both teams, both positive changes in my opinion as we take a look at their form heading into this match. So the Cowboys coming off a loss and a draw last week, and the Seagulls of course coming off their loss to the Sharks at home. So they did play earlier in the season at 4 Pines Park back in the first round of the season, and the Seagulls look like world beaters, beating them by 30 points. My pick for this game though, I'll be on the home side here. Give me the Cowboys. I do think the Seagulls just look fairly soft through the middle. I think that's why you're seeing that shake up in the middle. But yeah, after seeing that effort from them last week at home, I want to stay far away from the Seagulls in this. Give me the Cowboys. Give me 1 to 12 points, and to bag a meat pie, let me get a piece of Jackson Purdue, who will get plenty more touches being moved into 5'8". And to put a cap on Super Saturday, we head over to Shark Park where the Sharks host the Storm. Looking at changes for the Sharkies, the one change with Thomas Hazelton unavailable. Thankfully they are expected to get Silsi Vidalagai back from concussion, so he'll be coming off the pine. And for the Storm, they could potentially be getting Harry Grant back as he has been named in the reserves. They've also got Tui Kamikamitha making his return, with Nelson Osofo Solomona making way. Looking at both teams' form heading into this, for the Sharkies, they're currently 4 from their previous 5, coming into this game riding back-to-back wins, and for the Storm, they've been a little hot and cold, coming into this match riding the ultimate high, mauling the Tigers at Amy Park, where they put up 64 points with no resistance. So I'm actually going to be backing the home side in this. I do like their forward pack in comparison to the Storm, and I think if they can remain disciplined and complete their sets, they should be able to squeeze out a win here against a red hot Storm outfit. So yeah, I'm backing the upset. Give me the Sharkies at home, and I'm going to go with Britton Nikora to cross the white line. And to kick off a triple header on Sunday, we have the Broncos hosting the Dragons at Suncorp Stadium. Looking at the ins and outs, the Broncos will be without Ben Hunt, and making his way back from suspension, Ezra Mam will be starting at 5'8". For the Dragons, they'll be without Toby Couchman, so elevating to that starting front row spot, they got Jack DeBellin, and joining the bench, Blocker Laurie in the number 17. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I'll be on the Broncos bounce back at home after a pretty embarrassing loss to the Bunnies. I'm expecting these boys to fire up. No pun intended, going up against the Dragons, who have been a bit of a hassle for the Bronx over the years. Give me the Broncos 13 plus, and to score a try, I'd go with the number 1 goatee in the game, Mohamed Shibasaki. So in the 4 PM game, we head over to GIO Stadium where the Raiders host the Titans. Looking at the outs list for the Raiders, they'll be without Matty Nicholson for what says here 12 weeks, so Zach Hosking will be starting in the back row. And on the side of the Titans, they get a huge boost in veteran Kieran Foran, set to play his first game of the season as he's been named to come off the pine in the 14. They also have Jamin Jolliffe set to make his return, joining Foz on the bench. So after fading in last week's performance, I'm going to be taking the home side here to bounce back. This is their second time playing this season, as the Raiders did beat them back at Seabus. This was in round 7. I guess you just never know what you're going to get with the Titans. They are coming off, I guess, impressive win, although the Knights were pretty terrible on their part. Just going off their previous meetings, they've been bangouts. We're going to actually avoid that trend. Give me the Raiders to go big at home, 13 plus, and Zach Hosking to bag one. And in the final match of the round, we head over to Campbelltown Sports Stadium where the West Tigers host the Bunnies. So there has been a slight shift to the back 5, with Stafford Doa set to make his return. Charlie Staines has been moved back out to the wing. Brett Naden has dropped to the bench, and they'll be without Fonua Bole in the front row, so taking a spot in the 10 jersey they have Royce Hunt, and joining the bench will be veteran Jack Bird, telling the Silvers the one to drop into the reserves. Looking at the Bunnies, they get back veteran Alex Johnston, returning to his regular spot on the left sting. Fletcher Myers is the one to make way, and that is the only change. Now, my pick heading into this, again, I'm going for a bounce back angle here after being humiliated at Amy Park. I'm looking for a response out of them at home. Probably the toughest pick of the week, as I can genuinely see either team picking up the win, but yeah, like I said, my money's on the Tigers here in the bounce back. Let's go 1 to 12 points, and to score a try will be on the Forbes Ferrari, Charlie Staines. And that about wraps up my tips and predictions for round 11. Hopefully, we do better than we did this week. As per, if you have any thoughts or tips and predictions of your own, let us know in the comment section down below. For now though, we are going to call it there. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later.